or to summarize, first we set 70% power. And we do that by setting manifold pressure. We set 29.5 manifold pressure, 2400 on the RPM-ish, then 21.5 on the fuel flow. Now I know what you're thinking, that's nowhere near 21.5, but that's because we've now reduced the manifold pressure to 23-ish. Airspeed in level flight should approximate 130 knots-ish. We like 130 knots for maneuvering, for approaches and such, and pattern work, because it's a rate where VA and ice penetration speed cross. I don't want to, I know that, different weights, there's different numbers, but please don't overcomplicate it. We're looking for a power setting that gives us 130-ish, and that's all there is to it. You must simplify. This is not rocket science. Aeronautical science, but it's ish. Okay. Now then, once that's understood, the next thing I want you to concentrate on is having the green path marker on the white line. And you do that with pitch trim, the electric pitch trim. It's looking pretty good. A standard rate turn, in this case, is a 20-degree bank. Not to be confused with standard rate here, 20 degrees of bank. So those two will be simultaneously true if you're at or near 130 knots. So that's your trinome for stable flight. If you're in clouds, the autopilot will do this with ease. This is how you do standard rate. Now, come back to 10 degrees of bank. Note that the magenta bar here comes back to the little tick mark just to the right of the lubber line. There. What that's telling us is we're in a half standard rate bank. So it'll take longer to get around the 3. Makes a 180 turn, 2 minutes. So too, that rate of turn is always respecting time, the number of degrees, and angle of bank is respecting the radius of the turn based on airspeed. That's even more than you need to know to do this well. So start with a cruise power setting, 29.5, 2400, 21.5 gallons. Then in the descent, reduce power as needed, about 23 inches, knowing that when you level off, you'll be at 130 knots-ish, PA ice penetration, and ready to start the approach. When you get to the final approach fix, and you get a green GP, it's gear down, flaps down, power back to 18 inches, the blue and the red levers alone. And that will yield 120. 120 makes you a Category Bravo airplane and puts you in the flap range. 20 flaps, and that then would put you in, setting 20 would put you in the flap range for full flaps. Knowing that gear and 1 notch of flaps is indeed the landing configuration, the other 2 flaps are optional. For landing, we're always landing at the slowest speed consistent with safety. That means when wind conditions and other conditions permit, we want to use full flaps. More about that later. Dick Rochfort, fly safely.